Welcome back, everybody. It's the next episode of the Fearless Business Podcast. I'm your host, Robin Waite, the Fearless Business Coach. I've got a very renowned guest today in the form of Brian Clayton, who is the CEO and co-founder of GreenPal. And it's fair to say, I'd say you're a veteran business owner, entrepreneur. Really looking forward to digging into your story today, Brian. Welcome to the show. Major part of what you've done is based around sort of tech startups and things like that. But what's the best way to start and grow a tech startup?
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me on your show. I love the title of your show, the Fearless Podcast. I think like in business, you should like be drawn towards that which scares you. And like that's always a good indicator for me. And I actually had a landscaping business I started in high school and grew it up to one of the biggest landscaping companies in the state of Tennessee where I live, sold it, retired. And then I was like, what do I do now? And I thought, well, I'm going to start a mobile app. I'm going to start GreenPal, the Uber of lawn care. And I was scared. I was scared because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. I didn't know how to build software. I didn't know how to market software. I didn't know the first thing about it. So I was scared. And looking back, like being drawn towards something that scares you is kind of a good indicator that you're in the right place. You're on the right track. So I love the title of your podcast, you know, and so how do you get started starting a mobile app? How do you get started starting a marketplace? I think it can be helpful in any business to have a big ambition, but think and start small, very, very, very small. And you might think, well, I'll never get anywhere doing that. But I think like business is full of these dichotomies. And one of them is like huge ambition. I want to like build a breakout product, but I'm going to act really small for a long time. And that's how we got started. We, my two co-founders and I hacked together a product and we released it into our marketplace in Nashville, Tennessee. And the first thing we did was we passed out door hangers all over Nashville to try to get people to use this mobile app to get their lawn mowed. And, we got a couple of hundred people to try it out. And we just met with as many of those as we could to figure out what the hell we were doing and took that feedback and made the app better and better and better. And over a 4 or 5 year period of time, we actually built something that was good, that was decent. And here we are 8 years in, we're nationwide in the United States, several 100,000 people using the app. So we're kind of an 8-year overnight success. And it started by just thinking and acting very, very, very small.
I like that. So it's two things which stand out for me there is about start small and don't be afraid of actually starting small. And also around sort of like an 8-year overnight success. I think there's a common misconception these days about getting any kind of business, whether it's an app or a business coaching practice or whatever it is, that it's super easy to get a business started online. But actually the reality is like, I think every market is massively overly saturated. How did you know where to kind of put all of your eggs into which basket, back in, I think it was 2013 when you started this app up?
Yeah, we were reading a book at the time called The Startup Owner's Manual, and it's by this author named Steve Blank. And this is kind of the predecessor to Eric Ries's Lean Startup. What those two books really teach you is to get out of the building. Like, I'm in the building, get out and go talk to customers. Go talk to users, go talk to people who are trying out your product, because that's really only how you know what the heck it is you're trying to do. Yes, really only how you can discover where you need to be focusing like your limited bandwidth. And that's something that we took to heart really early on. And that even to this day, we make it really easy for customers to talk to us. So we understand, okay, these are the 3 things we need to focus on this week. This is like the next thing we need to be focusing the team's firepower on. And so that's how like we've never really been at a loss to understand where we need to focus our intensity, because like our free R&D department is feedback from people using our marketplace on both sides of the transaction, because that's really what we do. We connect homeowners with lawn care services. And so we kind of have 2 customers almost. And so constantly making it frictionless for them to speak with us, to email us, to chat with us is how we've always kind of had like an innate understanding of, okay, these are the 2 or 3 things we have to focus on right now. And then rinse and repeat, do that for a decade. That's how you build something.
So that's it. The customer is king, and or queen. One of the things that stood out for me when I was first starting up my coaching practice, I remember I said, why did you want to get into this business in the first place? Like, which customers do you enjoy working with the most? And he actually said none of them. And I was like, how can you have a business where you don't like your customers? Like, you're not going to listen to them. So it's such a great tip to actually just like take the time to speak to your customers and understand them and listen to them.
You got to reframe it. It's like, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. One of my favorite Jeff Bezos Bezos quotes, he says, the one thing I love about the customer is that she is always discontent. The customer is always discontent. Like today's innovation is tomorrow's like, not a big deal. So yeah, it's the thing that's driving you forward as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. You mentioned as well that you had two business partners when you started this app up. Were you friends with them before? How did you know that they were the right people to go into business with?
It's a great question. My advice is, so I got very, very lucky, and without my two partners, I wouldn't be where I am today, and our team wouldn't be where we are. The product wouldn't be where it is. That said, my advice is go it alone. Don't found a business with a co-founder unless you find your business soulmate. You find the person that you can just not imagine doing the business without. You find the person that you love working with, because odds are you're going to be spending more time with your co-founder than you are your actual spouse. And sadly, if the business is successful, you're going to maybe be with them longer than most marriages last. And the other thing is, it's easier to unwind. It's easier to get a divorce than it is to unwind a business partnership. So really think about it in with almost the same gravity of who you're going to marry, because that's how important a decision is. So step one, go it alone unless you seek out and find your business soulmate. Step two is ideally you do what Paul Graham talks about, is like a hacker and a hustler. If you're trying to start a tech company, like somebody that gets like the tech side, and then somebody who's just like sales driven, who can drive the project forward. Because the point is, you need complementary kind of like DNA, complementary skill sets. For me, I just flat out got lucky. I recruited two people who I'd known for a long time, and they had one thing that I was looking for. They had a chip on their shoulder. They wanted to be more in life. They wanted to build something that mattered. They wanted to create a breakthrough product, and they weren't content. They weren't happy with where they were in life. And I knew so long as they were sufficiently motivated in that regard, that we could figure out everything else. And that's how it unfolded for us. We taught ourselves how to code. We taught ourselves how to market software. We taught ourselves how to design products. And so it's like, so long as you're sufficiently motivated and your co-founders are too, that can help. But ideally, you start off like on first base with somebody that knows something that you don't know, and vice versa, and your skills are complementary.
And how did you kind of divvy up the work, so to speak, or were you kind of just all doing everything between the three of you?
Yeah, ideally you need to segment it out in the early days, because it's all you as the founder or co-founders doing all the heavy lifting. So ideally you segment it out to what you're naturally good at. And we really didn't know. I mean, I had built and sold a business already, and so I had kind of known that I was decent at leadership, decent at management, decent at sales. So I kind of took on those roles. And then my other co-founder was a little more technically inclined than I was, not much, but maybe a little more. And then my other co-founder was more of like a soft skills, people person type of person. And so that's kind of how we divvied up the work in the early days. So my co-founder, Zach, went to software school in over a 6-month boot period of time, like learned how to build back-end software. And my other co-founder learned product design, and I learned how to do front-end engineering. And we just kind of were in the business for many years before we were able to kind of transition into on the business. We were very much in it.